Hey, Mike from Party for Crafts back again. Today I'm here with my xTool P2 laser, and I wanted to do a review. The xTool P2 comes with slats but no crumb tray. And then after a while, xTool came out with a crumb tray, but some people were unhappy with it. It was too small compared to the bed of the laser. And so there was one on Amazon called the Dofiki P2 Crumb Tray. I'll put a link to it in the description, and I wanted to test this out and let you know what I think about it. The biggest complaint about the xTool P2 Crumb Tray that xTool sells is that it was smaller and there's gaps around the outside of it. And xTool replied and said it's because it would be too hard to get out if it went all the way to the edges. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me flip the camera around. There is some merit to the explanation that xTool gave. And then the tray goes right into this slot and fits right down in there. So if you did not have the riser, this would be pretty difficult to get out. There's not much to grab there, and that would be difficult to get out. I have the riser, so I can just open it up and reach in from below and lift it out that way. So if you don't have the riser, this might be a challenge to get it out of there. The other challenge with this is it's thicker than the slats. Like you can see, there's half of my finger fits in the gap where this is sticking up beyond where the slats would be if the slats were in there. So that's an extra 1/4 of an inch less thickness that you can do when you're putting something on this crumb tray. There's not much room left under that head there. So I would say 1/4 inch is probably the thickest that you could put in here with this honeycomb crumb tray in there. Do I like it? Absolutely. Do I use it regularly? Is it perfect? It's not perfect, especially if you didn't have the riser. If you have the riser and you want a honeycomb tray, this is a good one. If you don't have the riser and you want a honeycomb tray, the one that xTool has is good. It's about an inch shorter on each side. But you can set the material on top of it. It'll stick out beyond the edges and it'll still be fine. So why do people use a honeycomb at all? Well, it's because when you're using slats, if you're cutting out like earrings or something small, the earring can tilt and come up, and then the head hits it, messes up the whole project, and it could damage the laser head as well. So with the honeycomb tray, the honeycombs are so small, nothing's going to tilt and go down into those holes. So when you're doing small things, if you're doing a Christmas ornament, the slats are fine. If you're doing earrings or keychains, then the slats can be dangerous and people want to use a honeycomb tray. So Dofiki honeycomb tray, I think it's perfectly usable. It's about $50. Again, I'll put a link to it on Amazon in the video description. But the xTool honeycomb tray, just about as good, just not quite as wide. I've seen some people say, why don't they put handles on it? But the handles will get in the way of putting material in there. I can understand why they wouldn't do that. If the handles were on the end maybe, and you could grab them from over here, that might be an option. But the Dofiki honeycomb tray, I like it. I've been using it for a while. You can see the burn marks on it, and I like it. Sometimes I put the slats back in when I'm doing big cutting boards and things that are too thick for this crumb tray, but otherwise I've been keeping it in and using it regularly. So Dofiki honeycomb, it's good if you have the riser. Otherwise, you probably stick with the xTool honeycomb. All right, I'll see you next time.